Season 2 of The Last of Us is officially over. It feels like it went by pretty quickly. The season, it's in itself started out good and it got weak near the end. That's going to be a whole other thing for my overall season 2. Don't forget to subscribe for that. I'm going to do review of the entire season. Is my review of the last episode of season 2 of The Last of Us, Convergence. This episode felt like it was having an identity crisis. It was all over the place in terms of tone. There felt like so many times where they were simply just trying to replicate exact moments from the games, almost too much. That is also coming from a gamer, a hardcore gamer who's played the games and know what it looks like, but there are moments where so many shots that look like they were straight out of the game, even the way the camera is angled. There was that one moment where Ellie was climbing up something and there was a yellow crate there. Yellow is a common color games use to indicate which direction to go. If you need to know where to go, look for the yellow. I just made that up. But to me, this episode felt very all over the place, tonally wise. The way Jesse was getting kind of broody with her not telling him where she was the night before, even though eventually she tells him that she went after Nora, or she found Nora, she got Nora to talk, but she didn't end up killing Nora. But there was this weak moment between Ellie and Jesse where it's like they were having an argument from some like teen drama or some like Melrose 90210 shit argument, and it just felt really kind of goofy. Bella was doing some of the worst acting I'd ever seen in that one moment. We went back to Dina before Ellie gets back from beating up Nora. Dina gets the arrow taken out, and then they have these weird moments with Ellie. Dina again further just proves idea that they pushed the relationship too far into the show with this, and it became a distraction in the game and kept it basically kind of subtle as much as they could while they were in the middle of all this crazy shit. Dina and Ellie are getting all too goofy on each other. There was some weird moment where Bella takes her shirt off and we don't see anything, but Dina's kind of straddling her from behind. I'm like, all right, so what is this now? Like Ghost or something from with Patrick Swayze? And they're trying to do some kind of rom-com, and then a second later it's horror film, and the second later they're trying to replicate some shot directly from the game. But that doesn't mean that I hated it. I didn't dislike any episodes this season. Looking back on season 1, which was pretty much flawless, for the lack of a better word, but the amount of tonal shifts were getting almost out of hand, almost laughable. A few points of just how crazy it would go, and then I would forget that a lot of these moments were directly from the game, and I just don't remember them because I played so long ago. After Ellie gets into a boat and goes to this crazy moment, which is also a lot like the game as well, trying to get to the island where the aquarium is, where Abby and her crew are staying. Jesse and Ellie having these like Jesse and Ellie go out. They have a couple close calls, but then eventually Ellie sees the wheel whale, where she got that hint from Dina, where she sees the Ferris wheel and the whale and realizes that Abby and the crew are at the aquarium. But Jesse's like, no, we got to go that way to help out Tommy. But they end up separating. Jesse goes to help Tommy and Ellie goes on. Like previous episodes, this did feel a little fillery as well, between the teen drama moments and them just looking for a way to show another shot directly from the game. Not a whole lot really happened in a 50-odd minute. I was again surprised. I thought that with annoying 7 episodes, they would have at least 1 hour plus episode, and they didn't actually have one the whole season. But this one was 50. About 10 minutes of it probably could have been throwaway. The whole time, I guess Dina was just still hanging out in the theater. Dina is still in there recovering. I don't know, I guess she's pretty bored, just sitting around with her leg up. After Ellie tells Dina that Joel killed all those people in the hospital, including Abby's dad, just to save her, Dina suddenly got weird on her. I'm not sure why after that Dina suddenly got cold. One of the craziest moments was when Ellie finds Owen and Mel. She was trying to get them to show a place on the map where Abby could be, and then very obviously Owen goes for his gun. He's too slow, and Ellie shoots him in the throat. She also nicks Mel's throat enough for her to bleed out. Then all of a sudden, we find out she's pregnant. She immediately tells Ellie, cut me open, take out my baby. Like, that's what she says immediately. I actually did take a moment to see if that was in the games, because I don't remember doing it. That was in the games. I don't know why, but I can't remember that moment at all. Mel gets shot. Immediately asks Ellie to cut out her baby. Sounds kind of effed up, and who knows how far along she was for how old the baby would be. Almost as bad as the baby dying in the stomach, which did happen, and it was a pretty gross moment, like a pretty dark moment for Ellie. She was just too terrified to cut out her open, and I don't kind of blame her. If someone gave me a knife, some pregnant lady was dying and said, cut out my baby, maybe cutting it out would be worse than letting it. You could die either way. We don't know how far along Mel was. Even if Mel dies, there still could have been a moment, enough time to cut out the baby. Who knows what the science rule is on how long a baby can be alive once the parent dies. But a really sad, dark moment that is from the games that I've completely forgotten about. Maybe I just erase it from my mind. When she goes down and starts bleeding, Ellie wants to try to help her, and it's again this weird moment of like, one second you're shooting people, and the next you're trying to help them. I don't really think she meant to shoot. She didn't want to shoot Owen, but he went for the gun stupidly. Predictably, he went for the gun, and then Ellie shot him, but she was still surprised that it happened. The gun was so badass that the bullet went through Owen's throat and grazed Mel, so she took out two people with one gun. That's like something that would happen in the game too. On her way to the aquarium, she falls out and ends up on the shore of this little area where there's a whole bunch of Seraphites. And there's essentially a whole other throwaway moment that again is kind of totally shift of the lightning is constant this entire episode. They're just lightning, and it was getting cliche eventually, but then there's this kid and it looks like the Seraphite. All of a sudden she's being captured by these Seraphites. She's in a friggin' noose. They're hanging her up, and they're literally about to cut her open. Predictably, again, of course, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, no way she's dying, but how is she gonna get out of this? Predictably, a horn goes off of some sort. The Seraphites all run away and just leave her there. Ellie just gets back on the boat and goes on. So that entire moment didn't need to be there. They literally could have took that whole out, got back on the boat and left. They take this little 5-minute moment to have her captured by the Seraphites, think that she's going to get cut open, and then she doesn't, and then gets back on the boat and goes on her merry way. Felt completely throwaway to me. I don't know why, but the horn that drove all the Seraphites away was they were being attacked somewhere else, apparently, I guess by the WLF, the wolf. Everything's just kind of chill between Jesse and Ellie. Then all of a sudden, a hullabaloo out the door, and then Jesse and Ellie get out the door. Jesse is immediately shot right in the head, and he's done. And that's a real brutal moment that's also from the games, where just like that, Jesse's done. Like, boom, no nothing, no firefight, no battle. She's just, boom, Abby shoots him right in the head. That's two people that Abby killed that Ellie loves. But then their little moment, they finally have a face-to-face. Ellie's just sobbing like a baby. I mean, I guess understandably, but considering we're waiting this long for them to finally get face to face, and Abby's like standing there with the gun, all powerful, and Ellie's just a sobbing mess. Was that in the games as well? I honestly don't remember. But the entire moment ends with Abby just shooting right at Ellie, and we cut away, and then I'm supposed to believe that somehow Abby didn't shoot Ellie somehow. So now I have to wait like 2 years to find out what happened and how Ellie didn't die in that moment. And maybe she did. I don't know. Maybe they went for it. When the episode ends, it's with Abby waking up at her home base in the baseball stadium. Of course, they have more shots that are just like her in the games. Like even the way she walks down the hall for a moment, the camera follows her. It's a lot like the way a third-person camera will look in video games. Oddish moment. Then she just walks out and she looks at the entire field, just stands there, and then walks away. So the show ends there with how they're going to transition over to Abby. It's kind of how I thought maybe they were going to do it, was they were going to have introduce Abby somewhere near the end. Sets up the next season, which will be perhaps all of Abby in the same way. It'll essentially be the same. So the entirety of season 3 will be Abby going through all the moments that led up to that face-off with Ellie at the aquarium. So we're left on the season cliffhanger of Abby shooting at Ellie, somehow not hitting her, but we have a solid 2 years to find out what happened. They're not going to reveal that till the end of the season or near the end. They're going to go through Abby's journey, perhaps starting from when her dad gets shot. She woke up on the couch, which is how they transitioned to her. This was before or after her dad gets shot, but I have a feeling it'll be after, and we're just going to show Abby's life essentially leading up to that moment. We get to see exactly things from Abby's perspective. Curious to see if they will actually replay that moment with between Abby and Ellie, but it'll be from Abby's perspective. Would it be the exact same framing with this moment where it's Ellie's moment and this is Ellie's world? They end the season transitioning over to season 2, where it's like 75% Ellie, 25% everyone else, essentially. 25% being everyone else, including Joel and their relationship, Abby and her stuff, because we only really see her for one full episode. I wonder if they're going to do that with season 3, where they might have an episode where it's all about Ellie and what's happening with her, because I'm sure we're going to need to see the aftermath of that moment. We're not going to see anything from Ellie that will be from before that moment. So how would they do that in season 3? Are they only just going to have 100% Abby? And because how would they throw in an Ellie episode? It would have to be from earlier on, before all this. After, because then it would reveal exactly what happens in that moment. That's a whole 2-year wait, plus going through the entire season near the end to find out the aftermath of Abby shooting at Ellie. Season 2 of The Last of Us is over with a rather disjointed episode that was kind of all over the place. Almost felt like it was trying to jam in way too many genres at once. It was having a personality disorder. It couldn't figure out what it wanted to be. One moment it was horror, one moment it was some type of teen drama rom-com, and then the next it was some action movie. And I mean, it was so all over the place. The amount of times they tried to emulate moments from the game, for me, got distracting just because I'm such a gamer. I'm such a gamer nerd, but for the regular viewer who's never played the games, it's not going to bother them. They're not even going to notice. But it doesn't mean I dislike the episode at all. I just thought it was a pretty weak ending, even though there was a cliffhanger. I wasn't all that surprised by it. I kind of figured it would end with them having their kind of moment. Even the way they transition over to Abby, actually suspecting they might do something like that. I thought maybe they would transition over a little earlier. The way they did it does make sense. Ending with the cliffhanger and then just showing Abby's life for like 2 minutes. We will begin season 3, perhaps exactly where that moment leaves off, or it could be earlier on. We could see Abby before her dad gets shot. It could be after. We're not sure where that's going to lead up to yet. Ultimately, I was a little let down with some moments because the show was so all over the place. Had a really strong opening couple episodes, then it started dragging and falling and getting a little bit too fillery. And I mean, there's probably almost an entire episode worth of material they could have removed, and it could have just been 6 episodes. Even with me saying that 7 is not enough and I'd rather 8, 7 was almost too much for the amount of story they're trying to tell here. And they almost could have just had 6 of Ellie and 6 of Abby. And then does that mean next season Abby's going to have 7 episodes too? Likely just go for the exact same amount of episodes. And then the last one, episode 7 of season 3, will, I guess, somehow lead up to that moment between Ellie and Abby, or maybe it'll happen mid-season, because if they end the entire season with that, will the end of the season just be Ellie and Abby's ultimate showdown where one of them will die in the end? That would end the entire story of the whole series. So, considering they're already talking about having their season 4, I have no idea how they would do that. Are they going to somehow stretch everything to another season? That would be brutal. There is no reason to continue the story once Abby and Ellie have their ultimate moment. There is no reason for there to be a season 4. So if they decide to drag out that stuff between 2 more seasons, that'll be annoying. Imagine if you had to wait 2 seasons to find out ultimately what happened between Abby and Ellie when she shoots her. Because now we gotta spend 2 years wondering, okay, how does Abby not shoot Ellie in that moment when she clearly had the gun on her? Ellie have a Matrix moment where she just bends out of the way and just in time. Immediately start working on my review of the entire season. The only way that you're going to be able to see that is if you subscribe to my channel. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. But above all else, don't forget to keep gaming.